For the next hour, deepen your shade of green. This is the Shades of Green radio show, featuring the latest in technology, money-saving ideas, legislative updates, and all things green. The Shades of Green radio show is presented by the Green Alliance. Now here's your hosts, Paul Ira and Stan Hannell.
Good morning. This is Shades of Green radio show on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM in Las Vegas. Our show is produced by Green Alliance of Nevada and sponsored by NV Energy, and I am your host, Paul Ira. Our guest speaker today is David Kaiserman, president of Lennar Ventures and chairman of Sunstreet. David, are you there with us?
I am. How are you, Paul?
Marvelous. Good mornings, David.
Good morning.
Also in studio today is Annette Bubek, who will be broadcasting this episode on Facebook Live. Listeners to the program might have questions for our guest. You can call in at 702-257-5396. That's 702-257-KDWN. We should also have the now famous co-host, Stan Hannell. Are you with us, Stan?
Yes, Paul. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
David Kaiserman is president of Lennar Ventures, and he'll be talking about Sunstreet, a company that was built by Lennar to support rooftop solar installations for new homes. So, David, please introduce yourself and tell us about Lennar and how you became involved in Sunstreet and the rooftop solar industry.
Great. Well, greetings from Miami today, and we're glad to be here with you guys on air. Just a little bit of background on Lennar. The company was started in 1954. It's been around a long time, and has been and remains a home builder at its roots. And today is one of the nation's leading home builder, but has been one that's always focused on building new homes for the way people live. In today's day and age, that's overwhelmingly about technology, advanced building science, energy efficiency, and all the things that contribute to a real modern way, an advanced way of living. And one of the benefits we have in building a new home is that we get to start from a blank canvas. And that blank canvas is unconstrained by the legacy environments around us. When we want to build something, it's our imagination that runs wild before we actually have to rip up streets and do some physical work to make that turn into reality. And that provides us a significant benefit, not only in getting it right from the get-go, but in really thinking about ways to provide access to state-of-the-art homes and state-of-the-art living in very affordable ways, and without the cost of retrofit and without the costs of any legacy. And solar has been one of those really interesting opportunities for us. Now, there's a lot of people out there that think of solar as a disruptive energy source or replacement energy source, here to take your home off the grid and let you enjoy energy free from the benefits or connection with the local utility. At Lennar, we think about that just a little bit differently. We think of solar as one of the most powerful and disruptive technologies out there, but not one that sits on an island from the utility, but that actually works cooperatively together. And just like we build homes today, where we introduced the world's first Wi-Fi certified home last year, where we engineer our homes from corner to corner to have no dead spots. We're also in certain markets around the country, Nevada, California being amongst some of the ones we're in today, are engineering solar into the home as well and integrating it into the overall intelligence of the home such that people can make energy at their home, use it, and whatever they don't use, sell back to the utility, and whatever they need more than they make, get from the utility. And when you create these environments where you're engineering an entire solution, not a house. At Lennar, we like to think of what we build as homes, because homes are the places where your memories are made. Homes are the places where you'll live and enjoy, for years to come. And so as you think about your home, we want to make sure that that experience is not only as state-of-the-art as possible, but as simple as possible. And so we decided to build our own internal solar company called Sunstreet, which we're very proud of. And what Sunstreet does is works very closely with our home building divisions to include in each home we build in our solar communities with a state-of-the-art solar system. It's engineered to offset around 70% of the home's expected electricity needs. And it's built right into the course of construction, so there's no unsightly wires or conduits or anything else that you would expect from the current solar marketplace. It's not built as an afterthought. It's built right into the sort of DNA of the homes that we build. And those systems are not only installed in the course of construction, but they're activated and maintained by a set of very dedicated Lennar associates in Sunstreet. And what we've done is really made solar extremely simple, such that when you move into your Lennar home, not only are you getting the benefits of all the technology that it has to offer, but one of those technologies is making energy for the way that you live.
That's really great stuff. What's interesting is I moved into a new home a while back, and I opted to have the conduit from the attic down to the garage where the panel was put in, so that when solar was put in, that the conduit would already be there. Like you said, build it right into the home. Turned out I was the first homeowner in the entire subdivision who had done that. And there were hundreds of homes. And I thought, how ridiculous. It was $110. So
right.
The cost was nothing. So later to put solar on that home, to add that conduit would have been probably thousands of dollars.
Well, you're really hitting right at the core of how technology and affordability kind of go hand in hand. When you think about things during the course of construction and the planning process, it's often far easier and more efficient to just do it right then and there.
Right. We used to have a saying in the Marines, we don't have enough time to do it right, but we got enough time to do it over. So, hey, I've got several questions I want to ask you, but first we're going to take a quick break and listen to some music and listen to some of the other folks. So we'll be right back to Shades of Green on KDWN.
Wonderful.
Good morning. Like the man said, this is Shades of Green radio show on KDWN. We are simulcast on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM here in Las Vegas. Our show is produced by Green Alliance and sponsored by NV Energy, and I am your host, Paul Ira. This morning we have David Kaiserman on with Lennar Homes, and he is chairman and president and chairman of Sunstreet, which is an internal rooftop solar industry that is internal to Lennar Homes. So good morning again, David.
Good morning.
So as I was saying when we went to break, out of all the new homes that Lennar builds, how many of them actually have integrated photovoltaic systems pre-built into the home?
Yeah, we don't really announce those numbers publicly, but what I can say is like states in which we offer solar, it really is part of our Everything's Included program. So in places like California, where we started the program, nearly every one of our homes comes with solar. In Nevada, as we re-enter the market, that's starting to regain steam. And so what you'll see in Lennar is that we are an Everything's Included builder, which means very few options and upgrades in deference to a more production-oriented mentality. And by doing that, we're able to give people with good research nearly everything they want, but at far more affordable prices because we standardize what we build. And as a result of which we can make it just that much more affordable.
So I understand California's passing a law that's requiring, I think, 100% of new homes to have solar. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, so they passed a regulation that requires new homes beginning in 2020 to include as a standard feature photovoltaics. Obviously, at Lennar, we've been doing this since 2014, so we have a lot of history here in providing people with access to not only solar but great customer service in this exciting area. And so as that kind of comes online, it will impact our industry in ways that are yet to be seen. But at Lennar, this is part of our fabric, our production machine today, and we're looking forward to making it even better as time goes on.
That's great. And so a lot of people are concerned about when they get solar in their home. How does it work? I mean, how long does it take for a new Lennar home owner to activate the solar power once the home closes escrow?
Yeah, I mean, it can vary, but it really isn't a whole lot of time. Sometimes it's done right when you move in, maybe on the outer edge, 30 days. It's really a function of the utility and where they sit in their process to what's called interconnect the home, which is really just the process of hooking it up to the grid so that you can get energy if you don't make enough and sell energy back if you make too much.
So what are those
really
steps involved to connect to the neighborhood grid?
So it's a great question. It's something that we deal with in the course of our construction and the overall community development. So the steps are many, but they're ones that are dealt with every single day by our really capable teams on the ground in the field. And so it's really no different than we would extend electrical system facilities to a new community. That's really complicated, but to a homeowner, especially in a new Lennar development, you just come in and it's right on.
So the homeowner doesn't have any responsibilities for making this work. You're going to make that happen for them.
Hey, you know, and exactly right. And I think it's really important that in this world of new technologies, where there's so many exciting things, it's really easy sometimes to get lost in some of the scarier details of getting it up and running. And we realize that at Lennar very much. And that's one of the reasons we've stood up our own internal company to make sure that owning a solar home is really just as easy as turning the key and walking in.
That's great. That's great. So if I were a homeowner and I had a Lennar home, how would I know how well my home is producing energy? Is there a monitoring system or something?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very much like you would on your cell phone, checking your usage. You would go to an app if you wanted to, and you could check how much energy your home is consuming, how much home energy your home is producing. And if you didn't want to, our teams are standing by monitoring these systems through advanced technology all the time, so that we know if a panel goes out or if there's any problem. In fact, most of the time, if there's any issue with the solar systems, of which we've had very few, but when they do happen, most of the times we know it before the homeowner does, and we're right on top of it, calling people, and sometimes even just resetting it over the air, just like cars today are able to, like Teslas. So it's an app-based system, but it's also got people in the background watching to make sure no problems are happening.
Sounds like it's effortless.
It is. It's what makes solar really exciting, I think, in today's world, that it can be this effortless.
I always say it's a good time to be alive.
Yeah.
So I know you're building solar into your new homes. How about existing homes? Do you do retrofit to your existing Lennar homes?
You know what? We don't. One of the things that we realized when we started out on this was that the efficiency and benefit of building into new construction is really that blank canvas from which we start. And we've been very much focused on rolling out solar in our new communities and our new homes. We have not gone backwards and retrofit those. We think there are people in the marketplace who really have developed a set of expertise around that we haven't yet. Our focus is very much on building solar for the production masses.
So what kind of challenges have you faced when you're trying to build out a national rooftop solar program and, scale that to the level of Lennar's building volume?
Yeah, so I think, most of the complexities that people worry about in production are things that we deal with every single day. And so for us, building solar repetitively into tens of thousands of homes, that comes naturally. I think the real challenge we face is consumer perception in and around solar. And that, on the one hand, a lot of people are a little bit scared that it's going to be difficult, that they're not going to be able to use it, that it's not going to provide them savings or value. And so we focus a lot of time making sure that we educate consumers, one, that we'll do everything. We'll hold your hand from the minute you sign your purchase agreement through the 20 years you're going to live in your home, or even if you move earlier, to make sure that your solar system works. And if you have any questions, we got a human on the other end of the line that you can talk to, and they're always there for you to answer any questions. But we're also going to support it with wonderful customer support, proactive customer support. And I think part of the challenge we've seen is a lot of people are scared of what they don't know. And once they begin to experience this very effortless, as you said, environment, and they start to look at their solar system no differently than they do their Wi-Fi, right? Reliably there on, and if not, someone in the background making sure that it's fixed quickly. That's really been our biggest challenge and our biggest opportunity.
I know if you put solar on your home, on an existing home, it's a pretty penny, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 or more. What does, on a competitive basis, are your homes more expensive than a like home from a competitor?
It's a great question. We offer our customers one of two options. First option is they can buy our home and buy the solar system on it. And we usually sell those at very competitive prices. But I would say, for the most part, the preponderance of people elect for what we call our 2020 plan, which is an offering where the solar is on your roof of your home, but you don't pay for it. Instead, you pay for the power which it produces, no different than you would from your local utility. Except in our instance, each unit of power we sell you is at 20% below retail electricity prices for the next 20 years. So we call that our 2020 plan, no money down, and sort of a play on perfect vision. 20% discount on retail electricity for the next 20 years from all the energy you make at home. And
wow.
So we've really taken a lot of the guesswork out of it.
So then you own the system under that plan?
Under that plan, we would own the system.
Great. That sounds like a good plan. And so if you can buy the home with the solar installed and you pay for the solar, and I know you said it only produces about 70% of the load, what kind of extra cost is that? It's got to be a lot less than when you're putting a retrofit of solar on your home.
Yeah, prices vary place to place, but that's exactly right. It's built into the construction of the home. It's less expensive by virtue of that. And a lot of times when we're selling our homes, as an everything's included builder, you're able to just roll it into the price of your mortgage as well. That depends on a lot of factors. It depends on, your local area and appraisals and a lot of, financial factors that underlie getting a mortgage. But for a lot of people, the purchase of it is as simple as a couple $10, $20 a month in their mortgage.
And the upside is when you sell your home, it's going to be worth the same amount as that other home that had to put the retrofit and pay a lot more for it. We're going to cover a lot more of this information when we come back to Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back. Good morning, and we are back. Shades of Green on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM here in the Valley of Sun and Sin. Our show today is sponsored by Green Alliance of Nevada and sponsored by NV Energy. Produced by Green Alliance and sponsored by NV Energy. I'll get that right one of these days. So our guest today is David Kaiserman, president of Lennar Ventures and chairman of Sunstreet. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Sunstreet is a rooftop solar company that you guys have internal to your construction, and we think that's pretty exciting, how you are integrating solar into homes as you're building them so people don't have to add it on later on and pay those extra expenses of a retrofit project. So the value of an integrated solar array on a home when you buy it brand new is pretty high. And as I said earlier, if you sold that home, you would have the benefit of a much higher margin on selling that home with that system installed much cheaper because it was integrated in the construction and not retrofitted. So one of the questions I know that comes up from a lot of people is, how long does that array work? We want to live in homes a long time. What's the life expectancy of a solar array?
Yeah, solar's come a long way. Today it's pretty regular to see warranties of 20 plus years, which means that the underlying panels work, 20, 30 years. And so, we expect at minimum 20 years, but we've seen and heard, far longer than that.
Yeah, there are solar arrays that have been out there, in test sites for, I think, 35 years. So I don't think we really know how long they're going to last now. And we've got improved products that are being used to build solar panels. How about the appurtenances, if you will, the inverters and wiring and breaker boxes and all those kind of things? Are those creating any problems?
No, not at all. In fact, they're kind of keeping pace with technology. So they used to be, these big inverters that look like refrigerators you put in your garage. Today, we have microinverters. They sit right on the back of our panels. And the large devices that you used to see with solar in your garage, they're kind of gone. And so solar has very much taken the path of technology, just like those cell phones used to have that used to look like bricks are now slim enough to sit, maybe fit in the palm of your hand in your pocket. Solar's kind of taken the same path.
And do you also, and this is not on the script, but do you also include the opportunity or the option of including battery storage?
We haven't yet, but it's something that we're really interested in, we're looking at. And we think batteries really offer a really interesting opportunity to not go off grid, not to use them as a means of, disconnecting from the utility, but rather in a model called self-consumption, where it's there to balance times where you make energy that you don't use, instead of sending that back to the grid and then buying it back in a somewhat inefficient transaction. Batteries to be there to help with that net metering risk. And so we haven't done it yet, but we're very, very interested in it, and we've been spending a lot of time really studying it very hard.
Well, a lot of people, and hopefully I can clear this up, a lot of people think if you get solar, you go off the grid. Well,
Right.
That is not the case, because you're only kind of augmenting the grid. But you do have control over the power that you're generating and the power that you're using. And so if you had batteries, you can charge batteries all day, then use them all night. And the majority of your power would come from your system. The real benefit is locking in your electric bill for 20 years and knowing what you're going to pay every month. So independent of regulations and increases and what the utility company decides to do, or the PUC, you have control of your own utility bill. So that's really the benefit. Plus, we all like being green out there, don't we?
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, being green is a term that we hear a lot, but I think more and more it's not only the environmental benefits that it provides. I mean, living in a modern, state-of-the-art way is really a melding of the environment and technology and your family and all these things coming together into one easy-to-use system, right? Ecosystem. And building solar homes is part of that ecosystem for us. So I see people more who like the notion of being green, but I actually see a whole new segment of people emerging who like the notion of living in a state-of-the-art way. And for them, solar is that state-of-the-art way. It happens to be a wonderfully green technology, but it's not the only motivator, right? A lot of people just want to do new things.
It is clean. It is environmentally safer. It's better. And like you say, it is state-of-the-art. How did you organize and structure the business model of Sunstreet so that it would become profitable as a company business grew?
Yeah, real simple. Because we include solar as a standard feature of every home, we don't have a customer acquisition cost. That means we're able to save money on things like marketing and advertising that have historically been very expensive, and take that value and turn it into these programs where we can offer you solar for 20 years at 20% below retail rates. We can include it in the course of construction and offer you full service, white glove service to activate your home. And so we've been very focused on the business of both being green and making green. We think it's very important that the businesses that offer solar are profitable businesses that are healthy and will be here for the long haul. And so we've focused on customer acquisition costs and keeping that low and keeping our production efficiencies high, and it's done us well up until now.
Great. How many new jobs are you developing when you're because of Sunstreet? I know you're creating jobs when you're building homes, but how many more jobs are you adding in there because of the Sunstreet business?
I don't know that question. It's not something I've looked at. I'm sure we're generating a nice amount, but I haven't really looked at it in that specific way, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, that's great. We did a study in the past, and it appeared about 20 jobs per $1 million, 20
Wow.
full-time jobs per $1 million. So
Yeah.
Here in Nevada, the environment and the housing market, how's that suited to Sunstreet business model?
Well, it's better. As everybody saw, there was a little bit of fireworks before, and it used to have net metering, and then it didn't have net metering. But I think what you can take from that is the prospect of these new technologies is scary to some. And it's going to take time for people to get used to these new technologies and the disruption that it comes with. And so I'd say the policy environment in respect of net metering is better. I think, one of the things that other states have that Nevada doesn't have is this notion of being able to look at how you build a home and give real credit to solar as you would the insulation or the air conditioning in your home. And by that I mean really allowing homes to manage themselves to a bottom line energy usage, regardless of whether it's made on the roof or saved because you're putting in better technology. That doesn't exist in Nevada today. We're hopeful that it will. So I'd say it's a mixed bag.
So speaking of that, and we'll talk more about this when we come back, but I want to talk about how you build efficiency into your homes. What are some of the specific things? And also, how do you abide by the rules of sustainability when it comes to sourcing materials and construction and that kind of thing? We'll talk about that when we come back. Shades of Green on KDWN. We'll be right back. And we are back to Shades of Green on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM here in Las Vegas. Our show is produced by Green Alliance and sponsored by NV Energy, and I'm your host, Paul Ira. Today we have David Kaiserman, president of Lennar Homes and chairman of Lennar's Sunstreet Solar Company. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
As we were talking before we went to break, it's always interesting of what home builders do to make the home green or sustainable, if you will. There's two different things there. Making it green might be that it's efficient and putting in conservation efforts like maybe occupancy sensors or something like that. And then sustainable on what are you doing to source products and what kind of things are you designing into the home to make it sustainable?
Yeah, I mean, so, we look at this as a holistic solution, and so we have many different things that range, as you said, from technologies that are energy-saving and water-saving down through products which come with, sustainability claims from manufacturers. Lennar itself, as you know, doesn't really make any products, and so we're very much dependent upon the marketplace around us. But you look at our partners like Kohler, and you look and Moen and others in the space, and they're spending a lot of time making sure that the products which we install are ones that carry not only, as you said, green, but sustainability benefits.
And that's great. And installing homes with solar in Nevada and California makes a lot of sense. But how about other markets where it's not as sunny? Are you putting solar on homes in other states?
We're starting to, and I think, as I said when we first started our talk, to me, solar is a disruptive technology, and its application is one that's defined by technology. Today, it's constrained by policy environments and regulatory environments, but as you look forward to batteries and other technologies, I look at solar as being the opportunity, as being one where the new home can become that very sophisticated piece of machinery that it is. And there is a day where solar can be provided in, cooperation with a utility and a battery solution. And so we're not there yet, but the opportunity to get there is entirely logical. And as we start from our blank canvas, a real meaningful, opportunity to make the new home newer, which is what we do every day.
And that's a great way to approach it. And by the way, I want to congratulate you. This year you were received the Green Awards Gala Award for Green Buildings, and Lennar Home was one of the main recipients of that award. So congratulations.
Thank you. It's nice of you guys to do that for us, but it's really the hard work of people every day around us that it's the most gratifying too. So we appreciate it.
So that's one of the great benefits of the Green Alliance is being involved in such a great organization and having networking with other like-minded businesses and people. So thank you for being a member of that organization, and congratulations on that award.
Thank you.
What kind of sites do you look for when I know you guys don't build one home at a time, you build a lot of homes. So when you're looking for a community site, what do you look for to apply your trades to?
We look for the good old stuff like location and schools and community and the environment, physical environment around that, nature. We look for municipalities that we can work together with. We can collectively advance, economic opportunity. we look for places where we can do some things that are new and different and find partners who want to do that with us too. So I wouldn't say there's any one criteria we're looking for, but today it's about building that new home, that state-of-the-art home, and finding places and people and areas where we can do it.
That's great. When you're building these new homes, where do you see yourself going from here? I know you're talking about integrating batteries and these kind of things. Do you see technology changing, and how do you adapt to that for going forward?
Great. Yeah, it's a great question. So there's one thing I know for certain: technology will change. And that part of what we need to do is to equip our homes with the necessary infrastructure that's capable of making those changes. And it might sound a little bit off topic from solar, but I actually believe very strongly that the core enabling technology that will aid in continued change is Wi-Fi. It is the wireless technology today that 50% of the Internet's traffic travels over. It is the standard by which most every single product in the world communicates. And if we start to build our homes with the infrastructure in place to allow for that future change on a wireless basis, incorporating it into the fabric of the home today, but allowing it to be modified as time goes on, those are really good investments, smart investments we're making for our customers. And it's the type of investments that we want to continue to make as we're building homes and we're doing R&D and we're really trying to figure out where the world is going. We know we can't really predict that. If we had that crystal ball, it'd be great, but we don't. And so it's infrastructure that we focus on. And strangely enough, solar is a really powerful wireless infrastructure or wireless technology.
Well, it is Wi-Fi that has allowed wireless to happen, and being an old building automation guy, there was a big cost to wire all the sensors and actuators together, and going wireless took a major amount of the cost out of putting those kind of systems in place, which has now made them scalable to go into residential homes. So you can have a smart home with all these wireless technologies with security and fire and functioning in the home.
That's right. And I mean, if you think about it, would you ever buy a car without Bluetooth?
Not a new one.
Not a new one. Would you roll down windows?
Right.
Probably not, right?
Right. Roll down windows. That's a really important piece.
So I think the new home for us is very much, in line with the rest of the world in terms of its adoption of technology. And your point in question, in and around what future-proofs us to tomorrow, we think it's wireless technology and we think it's Wi-Fi.
Well, one of the things I've always wondered about is solar generates 12-volt power DC. How tough would it be to put a second circuit in a home to have just 12-volt DC-powered equipment, lights, appliances, what have you? Has that ever been considered?
Yeah, I think it's all about affordability. And it's to the same question you asked me before about, renewable energy and energy efficiency and how do we balance those two in the context of the homes that we build. We can do anything we put our mind to. And we start from a blank canvas, and that blank canvas makes whatever we do the most cost-effective thing possible. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what is going to deliver a consumer the best bang for their buck in terms of value and affordability. We're constantly struggling on balancing those issues. So whether it's that idea that you just raised or whether it's putting renewable energy on our roofs so that we can value engineer appropriately the other mechanical systems in the home, all of those things need to contribute to an enhanced affordability. And I actually look forward to the day where living in a green home is not one that actually costs you green, it saves you green.
Right. And that's what people are finding out more and more is green is not that expensive, because what's really important is what we call the cost of ownership. What does it cost you to own that home? So over the longer period of time, an upfront cost that might be 2-3% more is going to save you a lot more than that over the course of the ownership of that home.
Yep. There's a lot that's got to come together: our public policy environment, our mortgage environment, our financing environment. The markets around need time to get acclimated to it. But it really is bridging that upfront cost and long-term benefit. And for us in solar, we've managed to solve both of those at one time. We're able to give you solar for no upfront charge at an ongoing discount to retail prices. And so it's the first of what hopefully will be many examples where not only upfront affordability, but long-term affordability will be merged into one.
And I had one last quick question about building codes. Are building codes driving what you're doing, or are you doing this out of just improving your own construction?
We started doing this out of improving consumer offerings, and we always start with the consumer first. The building code is somewhat behind the times, and so today does not actually even give credit to solar as an energy efficiency technology. It thinks of it as something separate. We're starting to see those worlds change, and states like California say it doesn't matter whether you make energy or save energy. It's